near-death experiences. This segment also brings up one of the main themes of the show. How many deaths are worth the cost of discovery? How far are we willing to go in order to advance? This is shown by the extent Hap goes for his work, and is also echoed by Pierre in his astronaut analogy. How many astronauts died in our venture to the moon? We also see the bodies of French, Jesse, and Steven. In this dimension, they are dead, having been led by the game to the house and subsequently killed. This is also why Michelle was lured into the house as well. Remember, the cosmic energy is trying to bring those worlds together, hence why the living bodies of these kids are in one and not the other, yet they are both in the same room, but dimensions apart. This also answers the question about BB-8 and why the message she received in the medium's house told her she was the only one safe to travel. That's because this message was sent from Rachel, Hap's former assistant, who knew the bodies of French, Steven, and Jesse were dead when she ventured into the locked room. She knew that if they traveled, they would be inhabiting dead bodies. And she knew what they looked like because the OA showed her her charcoal drawing, the same one seen here. With the revelation of Hap's plan, Nina turns back into Prairie, this time strong and not fearful of Hap. She tells him that she's an angel, and you can even make out the angel wings behind her. Prairie life was nothing but hardship, blind and adopted and held captive for years. While in the other dimension she could see, had her father, and was free. Now she has fully integrated each consciousness and is ready to move on. Kareem goes back to the house and uncovers an excerpt from T.S. Eliot's poem, Little Gidding. We shall not cease from exploration, and the end of all our exploring will be to arrive where we started and know the place for the first time. He then backtracks and goes through the well, unlocking the gate and ascending into the real Red Rose room. Now, I'm not entirely certain why he does this, but my guess is that in order to solve the puzzle of the house, one must enter it in a certain order, much like the movements of the dance must be done in a certain order. But I want to hear your theories below. The OA ventures to the backyard where she finds the cubes Elodie left for Hap. Either he built ones from her design using Nina's money, or they have somehow grown. Meanwhile, BB-8 and the kids follow the OA to the same yard where they begin to perform the movements along with the robots. Homer comes to save the day by punching out Hap, but is shot by him in the process. She tells him in the new dimension he'll have to find her. We'll get to that in a second. And I'm wondering if that has anything to do with Homer traveling dimensions in search of her, like that one with the weird skin lady. Was that just a dream, or could it be foreshadowing something else? Kareem opens the window to find the OA's angelic body ascending to a new dimension, but before it can fully happen, a dove flies through the portal, disrupting the process and dropping her into a different dimension, a dimension in which these characters are actors in a show. The show we are watching, Our Dimension. Notice how Hap uses his real actor name.
I'm Jason Isaacs.
And the OA's name is the real actress's name, Britt.
Britt? Oh my god.
Britt.
In this dimension, she will forget herself, perhaps a result of the head injury she receives in a stunt gone wrong, and why she tells Homer to come look for her. It is likely next season he will be the one to unlock her memory, like she did to him this season. Britt's wig is taken off and we see her short hair, which leads me to believe this is what the OA saw when she died at the hands of the Old Knight. In an airplane in our dimension, traveling first class to the UK to be on set for the show. The Old Knight told her this would show her her future after all. He also predicts that she will forget herself and her true nature, another hint that her memory will be gone next season. And for those wondering, the octopus is under the control of Azrael, who is also known as the Angel of Death, the one responsible for transporting the souls of the deceased after death. It's his suction tentacles that gave the OA those marks on her arm. Kareem calls for Michelle, who had traveled through the portal previously, getting caught in this dimension. She feels drawn to him and climbs the ladder, transporting herself back to the body of the real Michelle. And finally we have Steven, who chases after the ambulance. We know it's likely him from the other dimension, having been transported during the dance because he calls Jason Isaacs Hap. This also leads me to believe we'll see the kids and BB-8 in this world as well. Now, I tried to cover the ending as best I could, and I know there are countless other questions still left unanswered about earlier episodes and the series.